good. Thank you, candidates, for sharing your time and ideas. Candidates are answering a question that relates to either transportation, healthcare, housing, or employment. All these issues are so important to the people we nonprofits serve. Candidates seeking the same office are being asked the same question. With only 2 minutes, they won't be able to share everything they want to about each issue. So we do encourage you to visit their websites to learn more about them. Now let's get started. First, we have the office of the Colorado State Senate District 19. The question that we are posing for this office relates to transportation. You can see it on the screen. How will you use your role to help bolster the funding for public transportation, infrastructure, multimodal, or other innovative approaches, since access is difficult or limited for those that we serve? Candidate Lynn Gerber is running for the seat, but is not able to join us tonight. Senator Rachel Zenzinger has been serving in this office and is seeking re-election and does join us this evening. Welcome, Senator Zenzinger. Good to see you. Please address the question and any other comments you'd like in your 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight. I'm State Senator Rachel Zenzinger, and I represent Senate District 19, which encompasses Arvada and Westminster, all in Jefferson County. I think this is a great question because public transportation is a critically important service. Unfortunately, the pandemic has made an already difficult situation for transportation funding significantly worse. The decrease in ridership has impacted revenues, and the decline in revenues makes it difficult to provide the needed services. But as the senator who secured the largest investment in transportation funding and infrastructure in our state's history, I welcome the challenge. One example in which I used my role to help bolster funding for public transportation actually occurred back in March during the height of the pandemic. I was contacted by the director of the Area Agency on Aging at DRCOG regarding a crisis situation with transportation services at the Seniors Resource Center. Now, just like many of the nonprofits that you run, the SRC had to close down their day program due to COVID, and so they were short on funds to keep providing their transportation services. DRCOG reached out to me specifically because of my reputation for working on transportation issues, and I once served on their board of directors. I reached out to the governor's office, and we created a plan to utilize some of the emergency funding from the CARES Act. Then I wrote and passed a bill to reallocate the multimodal funding that I set aside in Senate Bill 1, specifically for the Seniors Resource Center and similar transit agencies that were facing the same situation. Additionally, as a member of the Joint Budget Committee, I protected these transit funds that we set aside in Senate Bill 267, a different bill, for the next 2 years. Now, these are funds that would have certainly otherwise been swept due to the budget pressures that we were all feeling. Going forward, things will continue to not be very easy. We were down $3.3 billion on our budget last year, and we're approximately $9 billion short in our transportation funding. But given the high importance of public transportation to the everyday existence of your members, I'm 1,000% committed to maintaining these services and figuring out other solutions, just like we did for the Seniors Resource Center when problems arise. I could probably talk about transportation for hours, but my time is up. I just want to say thank you for the question and for the opportunity to be with you here today.
Thank you, Senator Zenzinger. Appreciate that. Next, we have the candidates who are running for Colorado State House District 24. The question we posed for this office is, how will you help ensure low-income, at-risk, and vulnerable populations will have access to appropriate and timely care, both physical and mental health? Here tonight is Representative Monica Duran, who holds this office and is seeking re-election. And also tonight, we think Laurel Eimer is also here, who is running for this seat. We'll begin with Representative Duran now, 2 minutes. Go ahead, Representative Duran.
Great, thank you so much. It's awesome to be here, and a great question, because we know that the state has been facing a lot of challenges, and because of COVID, right, and the threats that it put on our budget, but also the way it impacted many of the services that we provide. So we did a great job using our federal COVID dollar funds to help. And one bill a couple bills I want to point out. House Bill 1411, which dedicated $14 million to mental health programs and substance abuse treatments, which were extremely important. And I continue to support more funding coming in from the federal government. We'll see what happens. I also think too that there's a silver lining here. Even with all the struggles of COVID, we've managed kind of to have a wake-up call. And we know that there's a lot of things we need to do, but also a lot of good legislation has come out of that. For example, Senate Bill 205, which guaranteed access to paid sick time for Colorado workers. So that included, about 40% of the workforce and most of the workers that really needed it the most. So if they're sick or have, something that occurs at home, or if they contact COVID, they're able to take some time off. I'm currently supporting Proposition 118, which is paid family and medical leave for Colorado. It would allow all Colorado workers to receive medical care and take care of family members, because honestly, nobody should have to choose between taking care of a family member, paying their rent, or putting food on the table. So this is something that we really do need here in Colorado and really affects a lot of low-income workers. A few other bills I just want to mention quickly this last past year that we passed: expanding access to telehealth, expanding health insurance affordability, which extended the reinsurance program, which was Senate Bill 215, healthcare coverage easy enrollment program, which was House Bill 1236, which allowed Coloradans who lacked health insurance to get coverage. So many more things that we did. Bottom line is I'm Monica Duran. I'm running for re-election for House District 24. I look forward to making sure that our most vulnerable are not forgotten, and making sure to make sure the values of our Colorado families and workers are being heard at the state capitol. So thank you for the opportunity and appreciate you so much. And I am going to have to hop off to get on another Zoom meeting, but thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Representative Duran. Appreciate your time with us. And is Laurel Eimer with us this evening? I don't think I saw her. And so we will move on. So we will move to candidates for State House District 27. Each candidate is answering the question related to housing this time. How would you use your office to address housing, including various types or arrangements and affordability? It's my understanding that Representative Brianna Titone was not able to join us, but we have Noah Van Echten here to speak on her behalf. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I'm Noah. I'm Rep. Titone's campaign manager. She's really sorry that she can't be here. We had a prior engagement scheduled all the way back in August, but this is one of her favorite events, and she's sad that she wasn't able to be here for the third year. And I just want to say before I start, thank you to everyone who's put this on: the Senior Resource Center, Family Tree, the Jefferson Center for Mental Health, and DDRC. This is, a great event, and I'm excited to be able to speak for Rep. Titone at it. She's given me her thoughts on this, and we've talked about it at length. I think when Donald Trump became president, we entered a really high risk issue for our housing, where we had grants such as the Community Development Block Grant canceled, budget cuts for the Public Housing Capital Fund canceled, the Public Housing Operating Fund got a massive $500 million slash, and all of these federal cuts come back to bite us here in Colorado, especially in the budget situation that we're in and under the tax limits that we have. So it's a serious problem, and it's one that the representative has already been working the past 2 years to fix. I know that she and Senator Zenzinger co-sponsored HB-19 1228, which doubled the aggregate amount for our low-income affordable housing tax credit. and extended it through 2024. She's also made sure that during application fees for mortgages or loans, the fees have to cover 100% of the cost and don't just go into the pocket of landlords. But really, this comes back to a money issue. Just as we've said about transportation and we've said about other issues, we really can't move forward on this until we have a way to properly fund it, and that will always be what we come back to. So, at the end of the day, Brianna's done a lot of work on housing, and she plans to continue addressing it as her core issue. It's going to be a big battle forward, but we're excited to have everyone's support and to work as a big team to get this done. Thank you all.
Thank you. And is Vicki Pine with us this evening? She's also a candidate. Representative Pine, no, I'm seeing the shaking of the heads, so we will move on. Finally, we have the candidates for State House District 29. The question we've asked these candidates relates to employment. Many of the people we serve want and need to work. They face challenges relating to transportation, training, childcare, and the need for flexibility. How will you help address the challenges they face and work with employers to help open doors for people we serve? The incumbent for the seat is term limited, so we have two candidates seeking to represent House District 29. I believe we have Vanessa DeMott here with us this evening.
Yep, that's
all right. Go ahead.
Hi, Beverly. Well, thank you, Beverly, Kiara, Chris, and Scott. Really, you've thanked all of us, but the thanks should and the gratitude should go to you guys. Everything your organizations do truly help the bottom part of our community and bring everybody to such a livable place. So we have a tremendous amount of respect for all of that. So, your question was surrounding families and how can families truly just live and thrive in our communities? I'm a mother of 4. I understand that in order to get to work, you have to have your kids taken care of. But in order to take care of your kids, you have to get to work. This is an issue that so many families face, and I faced it when I was a single mom and then pregnant with my 3rd child, and I had to make that decision of either I can go to work and spend every dime I have paying for childcare, or I can decide to maybe work from home and find some different alternatives. I think one of the most devastating parts of our community is to see parents having to sacrifice quality of care because they can't pay for it. I served on the board of directors for Ralston House, and I see where when we sacrifice that quality, when we sacrifice our most vulnerable and those marginalized, unfortunately, that's where evil and that's where wrongdoers come into our lives. So you're absolutely right. This is a place that we need to come together, and it's not reinventing the wheel. There are many great places out there who already provide great services that can work with families and give better cost. Opening up our schools safely and getting these kids back to a safe place where we have eyes back on them is one of those biggest things. I've seen multi-generational families coming back in to live in one home to have grandparents work with kids while they're assisting in education so parents can get back to work. We're in a whole new world right now. It's going to take a lot of collaboration with people like you all to make this work. Vanessa DeMott, candidate for House District 29. Thank you guys.
Wonderful. It's amazing how you all get down to the last second there. And the other candidate is Lindsay Doherty. I understand she might not have been able to join us, but that we have Caitlin Begon able to speak on her behalf.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting us, the Lindsay Doherty campaign, to this event tonight. My name is Caitlin, and I'm Lindsay's campaign manager. Unfortunately, Lindsay is unable to join tonight, so I'm going to be speaking on her behalf. This pandemic has highlighted the wealth inequality in our country. Our working class has been struggling to make ends meet with the way that our system is currently structured. Lindsay sees this a lot in her family and juvenile law career. Our infrastructure must be reliable and safe so our essential workers can spend more time at home with family, and less time worrying about getting a citation for being tardy to work. Our schools must be funded so they have the resources to provide kids services, from counselors to after-school programs, giving parents more flexibility in their availability and save money in childcare costs as well. With adjustments due to COVID, there needs to be an understanding that some families don't have access to all of these resources that they need to shift to 100% online programs. There are families who share one computer, and our businesses and schools need to be able to make accommodations for that. Lindsay is a small business owner, and she understands the struggles that comes with that title. Some businesses, like restaurants, run on razor thin margins, and they need government assistance in making sure that we provide a fair and supportive workplace, especially during a pandemic. The next General Assembly will be able to make these changes to support our essential workers, our working class families, and our business owners. We have a chance to move forward and rebuild, but we have to work together. Thank you so much for having us. If you'd like to check out our website, it's lindsayforcolorado.com. Thank you.
Okay, we are officially done with this breakout room. I was just given information that we went through this a little faster than room 2. So I'm just going to remind all of you who maybe this is your first time or so, there's a history of our 4 organizations, DDRC, Seniors Resource Center, Family Tree and Jefferson Center, of having met for so many years, starting out at Maple Grove years and years and years ago. And I know we already talked about the longevity of so many of us who have participated in that. And we just so appreciate all of you join us in, again this evening in a virtual.